Hello everyone, this is Anna with Passions of Paper, here to show you my latest creation. So if you guys watched the tutorial on my little grungy booklet, I had commented to some of the commenters that to keep an eye out for my next video because if you like the booklet, you're going to love what's coming up next. So I have been very busy in the last week, basically making this creation here. Actually, not just that one. I made this one as well. And this one. And this one. Oh, and that one. So yes, I have been very busy. I can't even like fit these in the frame. I made so many journals. And these are not just journals, these are kits. So I'm very excited to show you guys my new thing. I had so much fun making this. It was such a cool idea. And a couple of weeks ago I made this one actually. This was done a couple weeks ago. This was my first one. And I just loved it so much that I wanted to make them in all different styles. So as you can see here, it's got the cluster for the decoration on the front, just like in the booklets, but I also added a paper doll from Tim Holtz. And then the rest of that's pretty much the same, just that this is wider and fuller. And then one more thing separates this from the booklet, and that is what's on the back. I have each journal comes with a matching ephemera, a wallet. I call it a wallet ephemera holder because it very much reminds me of a wallet. This is like the little back coin purse, and this is the main opening. And it's got a little miniature key to kind of go with the key closure theme. And it also has the button and the brad on there to help close it. And so what you do is you just take the key off you unwind it from here, and then that's how you get into this front part. And if you want to get into the back part, it's all still the same thing, so you just unwind this as well. Alright, so let's get into this and show you real quick what's in this first, and then we'll go through the journal. So each of these journals comes with one of these kits. Inside, we've got 3 acetate pockets. This is the thick acetate. I love how beautiful they are because it's perfectly see-through. So you can see this beautiful stamped paper in the background through the pockets. And so we've got these 2 little ones here. That's part of this fold. And then we've got this nice long one here. Alright, so right on this, what goes in the big pocket is this notebook I made, notepad. It says, "Look on the bright side," and has this big, beautiful butterfly. This is some paper I painted here. And so that's the front of the notebook. This is actually the back that you're looking at. So here's the pages. They've been distressed, grunged, and stamped. It's a really nice big notepad. I will be showing you the insides of all the kits because they all have their own theme, but for the most part you'll see a lot of similarities between them. They'll have this small card, and then this larger card, and then the very large notepad. They'll just all be decorated differently. Alright, and when you don't need access to that, you can use the back. And in the back here, we have supplies. So you can take this whole thing with your journal. I don't know if you noticed, but it is, I just have them wrapped up together like this, so it's like one piece. You don't have to do it that way, but I just do that for now, they're just conveniently paired. And you can also travel with your journal that way. And you've got all these fun supplies in here. Now, if only they made a glue bottle that was small enough to fit in there, and then you'd have everything that you'd need. So I just included a few fun things that you can play with and add into your journal. In here, some scraps and some trims. And so how I do this, I wrap it around here twice, then go to the front and wrap it around here a couple times till you get to your desired length of the key. So I like it to be a little shorter. So 3 or 4 times will do good. Alright, so that matches this journal. You can see how the paper goes together. And there's the back. This is such a beautiful paper. These all really are beautiful papers. That's why I chose them. I made these little dangles here. And then if you're going to be in and out of your journal a lot, you're not going to want to be dealing with this key and this really long string. So for each journal, I made this little card. You take your key, put it on the card, and then you just wrap it up. And then once it's wrapped up enough, you stick it inside of this pocket here. And there. Now you can get in and out with no string to bother you. Alright, in this pocket I also have these cards that have been coffee dyed on the back. Now each journal is made out of the exact same amount of pages, but different pages, or at least different amounts of different grunge designs, and they've been decorated differently, but they have the same concept. So I am going to do quick flip throughs of each journal. I don't want this video to take way too long, but they are each their own journal, and I really want to show that in this video. So I'm just going to go through quickly. So you can see I did some grungy sewing here. I use a really thick thread so that you can really feel the texture of the sewing that I did in these books. We've got a cluster here at the rusted piece of metal. Rusted paper clip. And I basically did tons and tons and tons and tons of stamping. Like, my arms are ready to fall off because they're so tired of stamping. Another cluster. Good variety of pages, as you can see. And here we've got a Tim Holtz photo. I backed that one on some cardstock. I'm not going to take the other ones out because these are just a little bit tight and it'll just save time. This is the only one that's been backed on cardstock. The other ones are just the photo itself, but it's been coffee dyed on the back. Some more grungy sewing. I love the stamping, it's so beautiful. The script stamps are my favorite. Got some tracing paper there. Actually, this might be tissue paper. I think that's tissue paper. This paper got pretty cooked. Look at the darkness in that one. I did a cluster here and a cluster there. This is a real vintage photo, and I made that a tuck spot. Some rough sewing. Beautiful stamping. And on here we've got a fabric tab with this bulb pin and some beads on it. Some sewing. Coffee splatters. They're so much fun to do. Very, very, very grungy. Rusted paper clip. If you guys need to, you can slow the video down But this way it's just faster for the people who lose interest quickly, which I'll admit I am one of those people. Beautiful cluster there. This has 132 pages. Every single one of them has 132 pages. And I pretty much stamped every single one of those 132 pages, which I calculated was like over 500 pages. In the last week, that's why my arms are dead. That's a lot of pages to stamp. And honestly, my mind's kind of done too. This was a lot of creative energy to make all of these. And I just need a break. I don't know if I'll get one, but I need one. Got a lot of things that need to get done. This is another real vintage photo. It was written on the back, so I could not make that one into a pocket. I took one vintage photo with no writing on the back and made that a tuck spot in each of these journals. And then I took another vintage photo that had writing on the back, and most of them have years as well, so that people can just enjoy them as they are. And if you decide to turn it into a tuck, feel free. It's not hard. Just put some glue on one part of it. Another rusted paper clip. That's tracing paper right there. Is that the other side? Let's see. Oh, no, that's this tracing paper. So this is tissue paper. Got another paper doll there. Just love all the stamping. It's so beautiful. And then the coffee rings. And that's the end of the book. I used this vintage matte page here, and I tore it into two. This is from the what do they call them? Those yellow magazines. These are from 1930 something, I think. So this one's a real vintage page, but I was running out of these full page maps. So I took another one, my last one, and I photocopied it. And the rest of the books are going to have the photocopy of it. But I did it on paper that feels so similar to the vintage paper. And the paper itself doesn't really look too vintage, so I did vintage it up. And that's what I did with the other ones as well. So there really isn't much difference other than this one really is vintage and the other ones really aren't. But they are a photocopy of a real vintage map. And then I just did a little mini notepad in the back pocket of each one. So I'll not take those out from here on out because they're all pretty much the same. So there's that book. And again, when you're ready to use the string again, you take it off this little card. Or if you really don't like the string, you can feel free to cut it shorter and just cut the knot off of the key, cut the string as to your desired length, and then retie the key on. It's just a standard double knot. I just do it so long because when it's wrapped up, it adds to the grunge. It's part of the design. So now I'm going to add this back onto the back here. Oh, and I don't know if you guys saw, but it does have, I did my sewing so that it started and ended in the same spot. So I left these little strings on to make a nice little tassel. I think it's pretty, but again, if you don't like it, you can easily just cut that off. I love little playthings in my journals. So the way I wrap this is I just go all crazy and try to get it to cover a good chunk of the book, and then go around and there. That's it. Okay, 15 minutes in and I've showed you one, but it should be shorter from here on out. So this one says A Garden of Memories and has this little girl who has like this rose, what do you call those? Like a rose vine around her dress. I have no idea why. Like that's not part of the dress. That's a real, it looks like a real rose vine to me. But that's garden. So that's why I added that to A Garden of Memories. Oh, and I forgot to explain this one. So I did Out of the Darkness on the charm here. I made the charm loop to be the O of part of the of. And I did these three boys because they are barefoot and very dirty. And they look like they were homeless. But they're doing well enough to get their picture taken. So hopefully they're coming out of the darkness of either being poor or homeless. So that's why I chose that picture, because that's what it makes me think. So there's that paper. It has really beautiful script on it. This is like a black color, a touch of blue here, and some brown here. Very grungy. Also, one thing to know about these journals, I was experimenting with how to make the covers thicker, but without ruining the feel and the look of the grunginess that I was trying to pull off. On this one, so I did different things in each one. In this one, I used this brown, this stuff here. It's cardstock, just like a natural brown cardstock, really pretty. And then I grunged it up. But it didn't give me, it's got the clean lines, and you know me, I don't like the clean lines, so I didn't like that. This one is actually another printed paper over a printed paper, as you can see behind here, because I accidentally cut into this one too far, so I had to put another paper on top. And so that's how that one got sturdier. And then this one here, and this one here, I used Amazon Fresh paper bag packaging. And that's actually my favorite because I was able to do the torn look, and it adds to the grunge. So, and that goes all the way around. And it was a really nice thick paper bag. So it really did sturdy it up, but also adds to the grunge. It actually adds to it, not detracts from it. And then this one here, before I did those ones, I had made this one. And this is muslin. I did muslin on the inside, which definitely makes it more secure. It's not going to fall apart, but it didn't quite have the thickness overall of a cover as I was looking for. Also, it was a little too light for my taste. I wish that was darker, and I could have made it darker, but like I said, it's just a little too flimsy feeling still. I wanted it to feel a little stiffer. So from here on out, I will be doing the Amazon packaging, but I just wanted you guys to know there are differences between all these journals. So if you're buying one, please watch this video because there are differences, and I want to make sure you like what you're getting in your journal. So this one was with that brown, and then I coffee dyed it so it's darker. So we've got our 3 cards here for writing on, and the string card. And these are, I stamped both sides so they look like the theme. And this is more of that brown cardstock as well. So it's a nice thick paper. Not so thick though that it's going to super bulk up the pocket or anything. This is a vintage picture I printed for my computer, and it's a tuck spot. She was just so pretty. I just had to add her. And now I'm just going to go quickly. Like I said, you can slow it down to take your time looking through. And this way my video does not get so long by showing off 5 journals. Here we've got vellum. That's fun. You can stamp on the one side and then turn it over and you'll still see it. On some of the vellum pages I did, I have some stamps that are backwards. I love this cluster, it's so pretty. And you can just feel it as much as you want. Love the texture. So I have some stamps that are backwards. Here's the one that has writing. It says 9th July, 1948. In Italia. So yeah, those backward stamps, I like to do those, the whole entire stamp on the see-through pages, so you can like see the backward stamp and then turn the page and you can actually read it. Beautiful butterfly cluster there. Here's a vintage photo I turned into a tuck. This book's all about beautiful moments, a garden of memories. And I feel like I chose this picture because I feel like this older couple would have so many memories, loving memories. We've got the spine here, and there's the dangle for this one. It's a little bit more cream and black instead of coffee dye. Got a cluster here, and a tab here, fabric tab, with another bulb pin, and some tiny, tiny, tiny little beads. These books are a lot of pages. This is a really pretty earthy cluster. Kind of goes with the garden theme. They're great if you're a writer. I did light stamping, so you can write over them with your black pen, or probably even other colors too, because this is really light stamping. It's darker in some places, and I kind of did that intentionally. Like, for example, this here's newsprint paper, and so I kind of wanted to make it look like it was a newspaper. So I did some heavier stamping here. So in some places there is intentional heavy stamping, but for the most part it's very light and easy to write over and still be seen. I wanted to make the journals look like they were old used journals. This is a cluster I bought off of a lady on Etsy. And there's the Tim Holtz photo that's going to be going with this book. She has a basket of flowers, so it matched the garden. And the lady's hat also has some flowers. Some beautiful tracing paper. This was so darkly coffee dyed. I love it. Got this cluster here. When all else is lost, the future still remains. And some vellum. And then we've got this, what looks like a brother and sister. And so they probably have, excuse me, some memories. And there's that notepad in that one. Alright, and now we've got the wallet ephemera holder for this one. Now, I did do painting on these papers, so they do stick a little bit, but it shouldn't harm it. If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. Only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. And the notepad here, collect beautiful moments. And that beautiful butterfly. And then I'm not going to go on to the other pocket because those are actually pretty much the same for each one. They're all just a crafting kit with little bits in them that you can use in your journal. And I'll tie that up later. Alright, next we've got this one that says keep growing. And then we've got what looks like these teenagers or preteens. And they look very much like they're trying to look grown up. So, I'm trying to tell them, keep growing, ladies. You are not grown yet. Alright, so this is one of the ones that I did the Amazon Fresh paper bag packaging in. And I copy dyed that as well, and that just looks fantastic. I love the way that I had to rip it, so it was a lot more work because you have to rip it very carefully to be able to be big enough to cover this paper, but also get it to stick out every now and then. So that was fun. And yep, these are my printed maps, and I just grunged them up, and they look like they just came from the National Geographic book or magazine. And they feel like it because I chose a certain kind of paper that's kind of glossy like a magazine, but not like super glossy, just kind of vintage glossy. And so yeah, it feels pretty similar. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. If it is the courage to continue that counts. And then just some fun sewing. And we've got this. Looks like this little this little piece here is probably just going to fall off soon. So probably don't want to do anything too permanent with your writing or anything on there. Wow, I love this cluster right over this paint splatter. That looks really cool. Here we've got even younger children, younger girls. They look like they were part of a wedding, but they look like they're wearing actual wedding gowns. So again, they fit the theme of keep growing. You're not there yet. And we all need to keep growing. This is one of my printed vintage pictures. That's a tuck spot. Again, another little girl who looks like she's trying to look way older than what she is. Love this page. This is so beautiful with the script stamping and then the corner stamps. It's so beautiful and elegant. Another fun cluster. Here is a crocheted, vintage crocheted piece that has been coffee dyed, and I made that into a tab. Here we've got a jelly print piece, and that's just turned into a pocket. And then the dangles for this one. They're all mostly the same. I did the same theme. They're just the paper beads themselves turned out a little different. Another cluster from the lady that I bought from on Etsy. These journals, they just feel so good in your hand. They're like the perfect size. I love this paper. It's a little bit thicker. And it's got the coffee dyeing on it. Must have been pretty rough. It's got all these little crimps in it. And some shredded edging. That's just how it came out from coffee dyeing. And it just makes it look so vintage. Here is a vintage picture, a real vintage picture I turned into a tuck. beautiful butterfly that I added some thread to make it look like it had antennae. I'm not sure what the plural of that is. I stamped on this page. I was trying to make it look like a page torn from an old diary. And then we've got another Tim Holtz doll. Like, she's like sad because she was told she needs to grow up some more before she can do something that she wants to do. So she's sad. Maybe she wanted to move out. Go explore the world. Here we've got this old vintage picture from 1948. Did some more stamping, trying to make it look like it was from a journal or a newspaper or something. Another one of those jelly print pockets. Super grungy. And there's the end. Alright, so now we've got the wallet ephemera holder. This says, enjoy the journey. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. That is my 1.5-year-old son. He's supposed to be going to sleep in the other room, and his crib is right up against this room. So he is just banging away on the wall, the shared wall. This one I did a little gesso on, and I think that the gesso is what makes it stick. So just beautiful torn print, stamped pages. Really love the butterfly. I'm so sorry, you guys. Alright, I might have to go give him a talking to, because that's a little obnoxious. It does not matter how slowly you go, so long as you do not stop. And this beautiful cluster here. And then this one. The earth is my body. My head is in the stars. I love that one. Alright, so that's that one. Okay, 2 more to go, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm back. We've got this one, Sweet Moments to Treasure. And it has this heart charm. I love this heart charm. I wish I had more. It's so beautiful. And it says love and cursive on it. And then we've got these 3 girls who look like they're the best of friends and just sharing lots of sweet moments together. So this was another one with the Amazon fresh packaging. And we've got those 3 cards. I really love how this matte paper got grunged. I sprayed a little water on it first, and it's like soaked the ink up where the water dots ended up, and it gave it like a more aged look to it with the, like it's got aged dots. Aged spots. That's what it looks like to me. So here's one where I used my imagination stamp, which is just backwards as it is. And then because it's on see-through paper, you can actually try to read it. Here's a vintage photo of this sweet little baby. This little baby girl. It says September 1950. We got this stamped on grungy fabric tab. Here we've got this crazy sewed. This is more of that vintage crocheted coffee dyed piece, and I just did some crazy sewing on it. I like that stamping. It looks like it's been crackled. Got some coffee dyed fabric here. It's really old and soft. This book has a lot more sewing in it. Like I said, each book is totally different. I just stamped and decorated how I felt like each book needed to be. And then I tried to stick to the color scheme of the cover for the inside clusters. This paper, I love this paper. It got really cooked, but it's also kind of fragile, so just be careful. Don't yank hard when you're turning that page. I didn't want to put any tape on it or anything because that would just detract from the paper, the look of the paper, like the solid. It's just got this solid, deep brown look, so I didn't want to break that up. I didn't even stamp on it because it was just so beautiful as is. Another one of those button clusters from the lady I bought from on Etsy. Oh, and the dangle here. I love the sewing. I have so much fun doing different patterns on the edges, and like I said, this thread's very thick, so you can really, really feel it, and it just feels really cool. Here's the other side of that paper. You can see it has a little rip in there, so probably can't write on this part right here because it'd probably break. Got a little cluster here, and I put a mini safety pin in it. You could easily take that off and attach something to it. Here we've got some vintage coffee dyed ribbon, lacy ribbon, and it's just another fabric tab. We've got another vintage photo here. This one's kind of cloudy and hard to see, but it's just another tuck spot. It's like this giant family. Just put a little piece of that vintage map up there. Fake vintage map, probably. Actually, I don't know. The real vintage and the fake vintage scraps are mixed together. So here's that Tim Holtz picture. They look like they've got sweet moments. So I like they fit. And I guarantee you this couple here has some sweet moments. So they are definitely in this book. Young newlyweds. And that's the end of that one. Just look at that beautiful aged paper. I just really love how that turned out. I hope I can replicate it. And then the matching wallet ephemera holder. These blue journals and the ephemeras are my favorite. All three of them. I love all three of them. They're just... I mean, I love all of them, but I really love the blue with the grunge. Hope is the heartbeat of the soul. World belongs to the patient. I think I'm going to have to make me one of these sets. Live every day with intention. Beautiful butterfly. And the notepad. Alright, that one's done. One more to go. If you are still here, thank you for staying and watching. I saved best for last. This is my absolute favorite one. This one has a winged key, and it's got a little bird charm here, because it says, from her smile, the sun still shines, and when the sun is shining, the birds are out. And I love birds. I love listening to wild birds. I could listen to them all day. So, yeah, this one's definitely my all-time favorite one. Beautiful. I just love this paper. It's like this, it's on my computer, it looks black, but when I printed it out, it's got this blue tint to it, and I just really loved it. Got this sweet little girl dancing on the cover. She's as happy as can be. Alright, so in here, this is where I did the muslin for the inside. So it does make it nice and secure. It's just kind of feels more floppy. That's the word, floppy. And I just don't like that feeling. So here's the cards for this one. And I got that aged map look again on this one. I love it. I love how that turned out. That just looks awesome. Alright, so you've got to dance like there's nobody watching, which kind of goes with the girl here. This is mulberry paper. I guess this is the only journal that got that. On this one, I kind of went heavier on the fabric tabs. I really loved the blue, the different shades of blues and a little brown, the blues with the browns. All the tabs hanging out. It just looks so pretty. So from the back, you've got one view, and then from the front, you've got another view. And I really love that. We've got this couple here. Actually, this is the same as the paper dolls that was in one of the other journals. You can't really see her head, so, or his head. I'm sorry, that's kind of tight, so I'm just going to leave that in there. But it's the same picture as those paper dolls. I guess Tim Holtz reuses his pictures for different things. But she's smiling, so she goes in here. And here we've got this lady who is smiling. She's just enjoying her precious things, and that is a tuck spot, a very big tuck spot. And I kind of like crinkled her up a bit to try to make it feel more vintagey. I don't know if I accomplished it, but I tried. Now we've got this nice coffee dyed fabric tab. This is vintage material, so it's super soft. It feels really nice. And I love the brown that it came out to be. It's a very earthy dirt brown, and not the bright reddish coffee brown. I don't think that was coffee dyed, actually. This was dyed using the ground espresso re-inker. I just have, excuse me here, I have a solution I just make up in here. I just use the re-inker and water, and use enough re-inker till I get it to the thickness that I want. And then I take a dauber and I stick it in there and let it soak it up, and then I squeegee it out on here to try to get the excess out so this isn't so full. And then as I need, I'll suck some more up from the lid. That's how I do some of my inking. I use different colors, so I use the ground espresso, and then I have the vintage photo re-inker, and then sometimes I'll do coffee mixed with either or of those re-inkers to make all different kinds of browns. I like how you can see her through the vellum. Look at that paint splatter. That is so awesome. I love that with this stamp here. It's like a bus time or train schedule stamp or something. And then the sewing, the whole thing just looks so great together. And then the word stamp, the script stamp. And so this lady is smiling, so she belonged in here. You wouldn't believe it, but when it comes to vintage stuff, people don't smile. So trying to find smiling women to match this title is actually really, really difficult. Here we've got a whole group of women. If the baby is also a woman, I do not know, but it looks like 4 generations of women. There's nothing written on the back, so that's why this one's a tuck spot. I wish there was, though, because that looks like 4 generations there. It looks like a great-grandmother, a grandmother, a mother, and possibly a daughter. So that's just crazy. That blows my mind. Oh, and here's the dangles. These ones I did in a dark blue to go with the blue theme. This paper got really grungy and shredded in the coffee dyeing, and I keep it because it looks awesome, but feel free to just tear this off if it bothers you. Here's another one of those imagination stamps. I think this one came out a little clearer and is on clearer paper, so you can really read those words. So that's really cool. Here, this tab ended up coming out more like an army green, but you can see where I was trying to make it blue. But I actually love it. It feels kind of naturey, like vintage nature. And that's like one of my favorite things right now is vintage nature. So I just love how it turned out, and I left it. Look at the splatters all over this page. There's another one of those button clusters. I inked the back piece a light blue to go with the blue theme. And then here's some ribbon. This one's not vintage. That one I had coffee dyed it, and then I used just an ink pad and went over it with a dauber, and that gave it a vintage blue look. Another awesome splatter. Some heavily cooked paper, and here's the vintage picture that's got writing on the back. This looks like, I don't know if it's 2 sisters or 2 friends or mother-daughter. 1935. I just love vintage stuff. This is similar to that vintage crocheted fabric that's been coffee dyed. Makes a beautiful tab. Ooh, heavy coffee dyed paper. This one's not too fragile, just very dark. It'll make a great background paper if you want to like put a picture on there. And then that mulberry paper. Little cluster here. It's got some cheesecloth in it, and then I use eyelash trim and a little Q circle, and that's it. Beautiful paper. I really love this paper. This is one of my favorites for sure. Why is this not coming off? It somehow got tangled and needs to go underneath, I think. How did that happen? Okay. Yeah, somehow that got wound up underneath the string. Alright, so last one. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. The power of imagination makes us infinite. And just be you and let your light shine. Alright, so that is everything, you guys. It is so much stuff. I made so much. I just made and made and made and made and made, and I'm exhausted. This was so much work. I am so exhausted. I am taking a break after this, but I was so excited about this project. My goal was to get 3 of them made and done by Friday. Well, then I got a little overambitious, and it turned into 5, And that was with one of them already having been done last week. I just needed to make the ephemera holder and make the handmade mixed media grungy ephemera for it. So the journal itself was already made, and it's like, so I just did this stuff here, and why did it have to be 5? And then it took me all day Saturday, and I was like depressed because I'm like, I'm still not done. So it took me all day Sunday, and then now I'm just needed to get it filmed. I gotta go to Etsy and put all these on, but by the time you guys see this video, all these will be on Etsy, alright? So, I mean, unless people are already snatching them up, I can't say anything about that, but, yeah. So by the time you guys see this video, they will already be in my Etsy shop. So, run over there and grab yourself a copy, because I don't know when I will have something made again after this, because I am taking a break, and I've got some personal things for some friends I need to make, and my birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks I think, and so I'm just going to be busy with all the other things of life. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know what you think about these in the comments, and yeah, that's it. Alright, well, you guys have a good week. Alright, bye.